Hi everyone, and welcome to the new and improved Jake Whitworth Show. Today's guest burst onto the pop scene in the early 2000s with the piping hot debut single Coffee, but just shortly after releasing two further singles, they disbanded and we were left gasping for more. Now, after 25 years, they're back. And joining me today, it's Louise and Tina from Supersister. Hi ladies.
Hi. Hi, Jake.
How are you both?
Very good, thank you. Very good. Just arrived in the big smoke.
Oh, very nice. I'm very excited for today.
We are too. We are too. First interview since we've come back, Jake. It's an
I know.
exclusive.
I feel very honoured to have bagged the first exclusive interview with you girls.
Yeah, this is good.
And I want to just send my love to Elle as well, over in Australia.
It's our first one without Eleanor. Actually.
We do miss her. We've just had a little trip down memory lane as we got the taxi over here from St Pancras, and we're staying at the hotel we used to stay in when we were, in the band in the noughties.
Yeah.
We used to stay here all the time with Atomic Kitten down the hall and Westlife up the hall, and we all used to be hanging out in the bar. So we just had a real nostalgic moment as we walked in, and miss Elle, wish she was here, but she's in the sunshine in Oz, so I'm sure she's not missing us.
Oh, that's good. I'm gutted that she's not here, but two of the three members of Supersister is better than nothing, and I'm very excited to have you here today, ladies. Very honoured. So, growing up, was performing always something that you wanted to do? And did you have any musical influences growing up?
Yeah, I did. Music was a big thing in my house. Lots of singing, especially on a Sunday. My auntie was a singer on the Liverpool kind of club circuit, and I was actually quite a naturally shy child, so I kind of felt that I had a good singing voice, but I never thought it would be the performing route for me. But it just coming from a Liverpool family, and there was no excuses, you had to sing. So I kind of like broke through that. And so I went to drama college at 16. I was also in Lee from Steps was also on my college course.
Oh wow, big fan of Steps.
So he was so I used to go to college with him every day, and also Spike from 911. He was in my class, so it's great actually when I look back. I went to the Cheshire School of Dance and Drama, and it's great looking back at like how three of us in that class became, got in the charts and stuff. So I think it was a very good year for the pop world. So for me, I never imagined it. I've got an uncle who does like amateur dramatics and stuff. And he's got a great voice. My mum definitely is not. She'd be the first to admit she's no singer. My dad and my uncle have got good voices. But I used to watch Fame, Kids from Fame, when I was growing up. And I did used to sort of dream, and I guess now manifest doing that kind of thing, that performing. Probably always a bit of a show off, I suppose, which can help in this profession. But it wasn't really until I got asked to go and sing. So Elle was already singing with the original Supersister lineup, and asked me to go along one night. And I did, and never looked back.
Wow, I never knew about the original lineup. I always thought it was you three.
Well, yeah, I mean, the actual Supersister that sort of signed a record deal and the songs that it is just the three of us. But there was somebody else, there were a couple of others before, really in the early days, before we sort of got a manager and got signed and everything.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting to know. Thank you. I didn't know that. I learn something new every day. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Supersister, how did that come about?
So it started, the origin story was a girl called Kathy, who we're still in touch with pretty much. We don't see anyone that much anymore, but we're still sort of friends on Facebook and everything. So it was Kathy's brainchild in the very beginning.
As I say, she auditioned some people. Eleanor was the first sort of official member. Somebody called Julia, sweetheart called Julia, who, as I say, she didn't end up in the final sort of Super Sister, but she was there in the very beginning. And then there was myself. And then Lou and Elle, you can tell the story of you and Elle meeting, can't you?
Yeah, so me and Elle used to work together doing bits of modelling and bits of promotion work. And she told me she was in a band. I had an audition for Atomic Kitten and I didn't get in because I was too old. I know. I was too old at 21. They wanted like 16-year-olds.
Oh,
so I was absolutely devastated. And then, so off the back of that, I managed to get an audition for Super Sister and I got in. And
bearing in mind the audition, Jake, was them two sharing a room together when they were working, and every time Elle sang, because literally everywhere Elle goes she sings, Louise would just jump in with a harmony, like she was like a constant audition.
I know,
I love that.
Harmonizing. But yeah, and then once we kind of met Tina and got in that group, that we knew it was essential to get a manager and get a team together, and that's how we got signed to Gut Records. And then and the fourth member of Super Sister was Sean Phillips, who is Eleanor's brother, and he wrote a lot of the songs with us. So that's how it all started.
The origin story. And we actually did it as well the old-fashioned way. We got in a car, drove to London, and started to knock on radio record company doors. I mean, our managers took the meetings, to be fair, but it was because obviously now with the whole, there's so many different other ways to launch a music career, but we did it the old school way,
the hard way.
They're all pretty hard, to be fair.
I think what I like about that as well is you wasn't manufactured.
No, we were very organic when we think back. We used to, I think before we signed our record deal, we'd been together for about 2.5 years. So that time we used to sit in the titanium factory rehearsing three nights a week. And we were really committed to each other, the music, scraping together money for studio time and rehearsals. So it was really important to us at the time to get a record deal. And I think that I still believe that day to be one of the best days of my life, of when we signed the record deal, because obviously it was harvested from a very small beginning, and then it just went obviously so big. And it's quite nice to know that you work really hard at something and you want something enough, then and your hard work pays off. And that's why it felt so organic and natural and just and felt right for us, which I think the London record companies, I think they sensed that. They could see that we wanted it. We were young. We were committed to the cause, which was delivering very pop anthemic tunes.
It's incredible as well, because so obviously we must have signed our record company, and I remember that day in the office at Gut Records, not far from here. Literally signing on the dotted line, and how incredible that felt. And then literally 25 years later, we've just signed again. So not with the same label. Obviously Gut Records doesn't actually exist anymore, but Felix Music International, who now are the new label that look after the Super Sister catalogue. We just signed a new record deal. 25
Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. I've got some water, so cheers. You released your first single, Coffee, on the 14th of October in 2000. And as you said, 25 years, it's coming up to 25 years since it was released. Which, by the way, I should not have been singing at that age, because let's be real, we know it's not really about coffee, is it, ladies?
I don't know what you mean, Jake.
The lyrics like, I like my coffee with cream.
Like caffeine, you kept me up all night.
Till it's flowing down the sides. Don't know what you mean.
That is coffee. That isn't coffee, girls. That is not coffee.
It's a bit naughty. But we like it a bit naughty.
Yeah. Well, we were very much like, innuendo, cheeky. I mean, we took our we took the job seriously, but we hopefully didn't take ourselves too seriously, in the sense that we had, you know, a good sense of humor between us all, and you know, the lyrics are quite tongue-in-cheek and cheeky and everything, which we love. And I do think, you know, so many people did embrace that. But there was also a bit of a backlash at the time, because while we were sort of cheeky and fun, what actually turned quite cool in sort of 2001, 2002, started to get quite moody and cool. Which I think is sort of, it played a bit of a part in how, you know, we didn't go on the full trajectory that we thought we were going to go on with the second and third single. But it's amazing that 25 years later, it's actually having its day again. And now people are really embracing our lyrics and our fun, and just the pure pop that is Supersister.
I think it's fair to say that you were ahead of your time with Coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
I'll say to you what I said to Louise the other day. Coffee walked, so Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter could run.
I like it. We paved the way.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
It went from, you asked the question, can I come in for coffee, to now he's thinking about me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like evolved, and like I think you and Sabrina Carpenter, off the top of my head, are the only coffee related songs I could think of. Where they're not about actual coffee.
The actual same release date as ours in 2000, All Saints released Black Coffee.
Oh yes.
On the exact same day.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's almost, I always feel like that's the travesty of our journey. as in, you know, just as we were getting all the hype, I remember doing like so many gigs, obviously the promotion of Coffee all that year. We started promoting it from like January, I think. So but then we got into obviously Pride Month, and then we got into kind of like all the party in the parks and everything.
Yeah.
And everyone was congratulating us on a #1 single. They were just like, this is going to be absolutely massive. Like, you girls are just like, you know, such a good song. I remember all the boy bands and girl bands at the time.
Yeah, they loved it.
Because obviously we would see each other at all these different gigs, and they would, and obviously we'd all heard each other's songs like a million times. And they were just like, you girls are just going straight to #1 with this. And I think what the devastating thing is that on that week that we released, our record company weren't quite ready. And then, you know, then we were, and then it was just obviously the technicalities of getting the single out. And of course, we ended up releasing on a week where Black Coffee by All Saints was out. So they went straight in at #1.
And loads of other big names released the same week. I only realised, like, we've been watching through a lot of our old original camcorder footage that we filmed back in the day. And I actually remember from looking at that, we actually had a release date of the 25th of September.
Yeah.
And had we released on the 25th of September, the amount of records we sold in our first week, it would have been a guaranteed top 5, if not top 3. But then we had to put the release date back, and it went to October 14th. And Victoria Beckham was huge at that time. She released, I think, possibly her first big single. Like you say, there were loads of other big releases. So obviously there's only so much the market can actually purchase in 1 week. But even so, any other week, pretty much of that year, we'd have been top 3, if not #1. But that week it wasn't. So, but hey ho, it's the way it goes.
I think that were a bit of scheming on All Saints' part.
Yeah.
Light-hearted. I'm being light-hearted. Don't worry. I'm not trying. So
it was our debut single. It was our debut single. We needed the pathway to be completely clear, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee a lot of people put their kettles on after hearing that song, wanting the same coffee as you girls. So
I wish we'd have had Instagram and TikTok around that time. It would have just been wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have gone viral back then if we had Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
So following the release of Coffee, you went on to release Shopping, and then the third and final single, Summer Gonna Come Again. Did you have a say in the rollout of the singles at that time?
We did, yeah. We certainly had, because we had so many songs written, but we had a sort of joint decision between ourselves and the record company and our manager as to which singles we released. But yeah, there was a big gap, wasn't there? That again was, you know, unfortunate looking back, because we struggled to find the right producers for Shopping. So we couldn't follow up Coffee with Shopping sort of 3 months after, which was the kind of industry standard. It was nearly a year between Coffee and Shopping. Yeah, was longer than it should have been.
Yeah, because you've got to fit in the 3 months of promotion, and obviously you want to get it in time. You know, you want to be able to do all the road shows, May, June, July. So yeah, we were aware that we had to do the promotion. But of course we were just like, we can't do it a year after the last single. You just lose momentum with it. And that's kind of what happened, if we're honest. And as I say, you know, the backlash of pop music, you know, you got to remember there'd been like, you know, a massive big stint of the Spice Girls before us. So everybody was kind of like, especially the industry, were kind of like done with pop music. So it was, people were starting to pick up guitars and play instruments. It was slightly different, and that was more favored than actual, you know, it was all like live lounge stuff. And you know, and I think it's only through our community that we've, you know, you can see that people have still played the song, and obviously it stood the test of time, which is the essence of a great pop song. If it can stand the test of time. And I think that people now recognize that. They recognize it must have been good because we're still singing it and it's still getting played in clubs. And so that's why we knew we were onto something.
Yeah,
we knew it was a good one.
So speaking about Coffee, I remember there was a channel on Sky called Tiny Pop, and they had a segment called Pop Party, and it played like the old, like, I think there was like Paula Abdul, Opposites Attract, 5 Star, like all the early 2000s, and Coffee was a regular video in that little thing, which I don't know why, because that video on the kids channel, but back then
not very appropriate.
Like,
I don't know why we did kids shows. We did
we did CD UK and
Live and Kicking.
I know, and we were actually in the not CBBS, but it was actually, do you remember, you know, like the kids BBC thing, and we went on, and yeah, it didn't feel right at the time, to be fair, to be talking about what we were doing.
Speaking about coffee with cream on a kids show at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you mentioned about waiting for the rollout of Shopping for a year. Was it frustrating waiting so long to release the second single?
Yeah, I think the idea, you know, we wanted it to be right, and we just couldn't agree with the producers, could we? And of course, obviously, as every month went by, it was a month, you know, that we could have been promoting it if it had already been done. So I just think it was a sign of the times of, you know, where the music industry was going at that point, and we were up against it, to be honest. So yeah, if we'd had our time again, we would have maybe known, you know, what producers we want to work with straight away and just kind of like nailed that. But we were so overworked in the promotion for Coffee. It didn't really leave much time for finding, you know, getting the producers right. And of course, we knew the sound that we wanted to create. And our record company were quite good in letting us lead the way with it. So every time we got something produced, or we were just like, that's just not quite right. And in the end, we were really happy with Shopping, weren't we?
Oh yeah, especially the Almighty mix.
Yeah,
that is a banger. Like that would go off in the nightclubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would actually go off in the clubs. I can imagine like people bopping their heads to it and going crazy.
Yeah,
carrying around a shopping bag, maybe. Now, after Summer Gonna Come Again, things took a bit of a turn and you disbanded. What happened after the third single, and were there ever plans for further releases?
We went to America, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we were so disappointed with the chart position of Summer, and Summer for us was the album clincher. It was the ballad that was going to get everyone to fall in love with us and just kind of like seal the deal when buying the album. And to be honest with you, I think the industry at this point, we weren't getting enough radio play, we weren't getting the TVs that we wanted, and I kind of felt like they just kind of parked us up and thought, no, it doesn't really matter what you think of the song. We just don't want to play pop music. And I think, to be honest with you, it's such a good ballad. It's such a beautiful song. I know that and it's a timeless classic. If it was released this week, it would, what's the name? It would be absolutely. It would probably go top 5. So, that's still like my family's favorite song.
It is.
It's such a beautiful song, and I think it's definitely got its place in the market. But obviously, back in those days, we had to rely very heavily on the music industry, so the radios and the TVs and the promoters and the agents and everything.
There was no social media.
There's no social media, so we couldn't bypass that. We had to go through them, and I think it's absolutely amazing now that artists, songwriters, don't have to conform to what the record company executives want, and they can just literally bypass that and go straight online,
straight to market.
So so that's the good thing about now. If the industry decide that you're not flavor of the month, then you will just never be heard. And that was what was starting to happen with us. And we didn't have the experience within the industry. We're northern girls. We didn't know, music executives could be that cutthroat and make decisions really on your whole career. And that's what was happening. So I think we just at that point was like, you know what, we're going to go to America and we're going to see what they think. And
which is crazy as well, because we got there, we stayed with one of Lou's friends in LA, and we had 3 months, didn't we? And we went to see 2 or 3 record companies while we were there. We were offered a singles deal by Madonna's label. I don't know if it's her label or the label she was on, Maverick Records.
No, that's her label.
That's her label, yeah. So they offered us a singles deal, and what seems crazy is we'd been sort of working really hard at this. Admittedly, best job in the world, and we loved every minute, but we had been working really hard for like 5 years. And then it was the question of, do you want to try again, literally totally from scratch, with a singles deal in America, relocate, move? And I mean, who knows with hindsight if we'd have done it, we'd have smashed it.
We'd have smashed it.
Yeah. We could have done, but we actually decided not to. We decided to go home. I think we were genuinely tired. I know that sounds really bad, but we were just a bit sort of worn out, because it takes a lot of energy to perform and to be passionate about it.
Absolutely.
So we went home. We declined the singles deal and went home to old Blighty.
I think you made the right choice there, because if you had, then I don't think you would have been here now.
No,
coming back.
That's true.
So we're now coming up to the 27th anniversary of this band. 27 years of Supersister.
What, since we started, since we formed?
Yeah.
Possibly,
Oh
wow.
God, don't say that.
You're only 27 years old, both of you, so it's fine.
Started from in infancy.
So this year, you girls are back and you're performing at Mighty Hoopla in June. How does it feel after all this time knowing that there's still love out there for you girls?
So good.
Amazing.
Really, really good. And I'm still really nervous, because it doesn't matter how many times we speak to people like you, Jake. And I mean, Lou's fabulous on Instagram, and obviously speaking to people at the label now, and the kind of people on Instagram that follow us and comment and everything. It is amazing that there is so much love out there, but I'm also still really scared because it's like, when we actually get there, what's the crowd going to be like? How many people are going to turn up? And I'm like, so yeah, you're still nervous, but it's good to be nervous, and it's good to be humble.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be over the moon if there's 200 2,000 or 20,000 there. You know, it's going to be amazing to be back on stage with Lou and Elle, and just performing again. We didn't really expect to be doing it again, not now.
I always knew we would.
Yeah, you've talked about it over the last sort of 15 years or so, 2 or 3 times, haven't you? You know, so come on, girls, should we just do it?
I just knew it wasn't the end, and I knew that, you know, I just knew that when we're together, there is a certain kind of little magic, that kind of like creative magic, and when you have that connection with like other people or your band members, you just know that it's something, you know, really quite special. And I think that and obviously we've just been encouraged as well by all the comments and the fact that it's, you know, every time it's played in a club or anywhere in the world, someone's filming it and sending it to us. So I think that it's as I say, I think it's a tribute to the song, and I think that, well, I think you just, over time, you just become anthemic, and it becomes such a great memory for some people. You know, some people have had their first kiss to this, their first dance, you know, their first, you know, whatever it might be. And I kind of think you can't take that memories away. And then before you know it, it becomes nostalgia, and then it becomes part of your history, and then it just becomes something. So I think, in homage to that, I think it's a great thing that we're doing, is like coming together to go on stage so people can experience those feelings, those memories
revisit
again.
It all. And over the years, like Lou said, obviously coffee and shopping have still been played, and you know, they appear on TV shows, and there's people in America line dancing to it.
Wow. That's incredible.
But we'll get messages from people over the years constantly asking for the rest of the album, because obviously we only released 3 singles, but anyone who knew us back then knew there was potentially an album coming, and it was written and it was recorded, and we never released it. So people have been asking, oh, can we just have the rest? We want to hear what else was. So it's going to be amazing to finally release that too.
I'm very excited about the album. Cannot wait. So that leads me into my next question. Now, you mentioned about Lou especially wanting a reunion for like every single year, like come on girls. But how did the idea of Mighty Hoopla come about? Was it a reunion that was always been on your minds for a while, or was it something that came about more recently? I know I've just mentioned, Lou, that you wanted to do it for ages, but what about Tina and Elle? Was that sort of recently?
Genuinely, it didn't feel right until now. Elle lives, the reason she's not here today is she lives in Australia, so she's flying over for a few days rehearsals and then straight down to Mighty Hoopla. But we got together last summer, and the 3 of us, we rented a little cottage in Wales. We all went there with our kids, and the 3 of us were singing together. We were on the beach together, and like I think Lou obviously said we really should do it. I actually can't remember how Hoopla came about. Did you reach out to them, or I can't
no,
they
reached out to us. So we I think it was just one of those, obviously in the world of social media now, it's not too hard to you know, for people to see. So obviously with the Instagram and everything, it's just word gets out that I said to the girls it'd be nice to do something. So, and then Mighty Hoopla reached out and said, if you're doing something, we want to be part of it. And so the magic started then, really, because we needed to secure that date. And then so we're kind of like working our way, you know, towards that date.
The countdown is on. Elle's flights are booked. We need to book our rehearsal space, don't we? So we've been going through all our old dance routines and our old camcorder footage, deciding on a set list. And as you said, Jake, you know, when did it, you know, for Eleanor and I think Elle's probably similar to me in that this is the first time it actually felt, do you know what? Yeah, let's do it. all the rest of the time, whether it was kids, whether it was career, whether it was relationships, whether it was geography, there was always something that meant, no, it's not the right time. But for some reason now, and probably I suppose because it is the anniversary of coffee coming up, it just all made sense.
Yeah. I think I agree with you, Tina. Now is the right time for it.
The noughties have gone crazy. Everybody wants everything from the 2000s. The kids, and my kids are seeing what I used to wear, and they're like, Mom, why didn't you save those clothes? They're amazing. They love all the clothes we were wearing back then. I just wish I had saved them all.
I do like the metallic jumpsuits in coffee at the end.
Yes. Yeah, the
individual colours. Like, I think those should make some sort of comeback in some way, like pay homage to them kind of thing.
Yeah, the gold, silver, and bronze. That was a look for a while.
So, Tina, you mentioned the album Lip Service that was meant to be released. Are you excited for fans to finally hear it?
Very. Genuinely as proud of it now as I was back then. It really is. It's such a feel-good, pure pop record. It's got cute ballads, it's got a bit of heartbreak, it's got a bit of disco. You've got stuff to dance to. It's a great record. That's the thing I'm least nervous about. I know it's going to be well received because I know the people who love coffee are 100% gonna love Lip Service.
I'm excited for the album. I'm hoping there's physical releases as well as digital.
We're going to definitely look at that. We're going to look at some CDs or vinyl or even cassettes. And people are making cassettes again.
Yes.
So, yes, definitely going to have a little chat about some actual physical releases as well as digital. I'd love that.
Yeah, maybe like a signed copy, like a signed exclusive copy of the album. And
do you mean Dear Jake? All I love, Supersister.
Well, I actually mentioned
Jake.
Well, I mentioned to Louise the other day about the album, and I said like you should consider like doing an album listening party online for fans. Like maybe a couple of days before release or something. To create hype with fans. Like you three join the live, like the call, go through the album tracks, and then like discuss maybe like inspirations behind the songs or that kind of thing.
Could you organise that for
us? Sounds a bit ambitious.
That sounds like a Jake job.
Yeah.
I will definitely get onto that.
Yeah. Tell us when to join and we'll be there.
Yeah, I feel like the Lip Service album listening party.
Yeah. Perfect.
We can celebrate. We can, if you've got any like old archive footage, you could send over. I could probably clip that in somewhere. That kind of thing. Because I think that'd be a good chance for fans to obviously not only see you guys like now, but to be able to listen to that album with you. They're listening to it for the first time, but you know what the songs sound like already and what kind of theme you went for with the album. But to see fans' genuine reactions to the songs other than Coffee Shopping and Summer, I think it'd be an incredible thing for you guys as well to put yourselves back out there. Obviously, Mighty Hoopla and everything is going to be big for you guys, but like you said with the with fan interactions as well, I think that'll be a lot. I can't think of the words. It'll be a lot better than just Hoopla and the single and the album.
Yeah, some actual engagement with people.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. It's definitely something we'll look at. One thing we've had is loads of really great help and advice with the whole sort of social media side of things and people spreading the news and some incredible people with loads of followers getting on board with us and wanting to follow us. So yeah, that's amazing how kind the community is, and supportive the community is. So yeah, definitely we're up for that.
Yeah, I'll speak to my producer about it and we'll get the ball rolling on the listening party because I can see it now. I can see hosting it and that introducing you, introducing one of the songs, listening to it, get the fans' reactions, get the chat going, what they think of it, what they like about it. Like, I think that'd be really good. I'm already excited. I can already see the poster for it now, and the little adverts and stuff. So not only you mentioned performing at Hoopla, and the album, but you have a brand new single coming out on the 7th of March called "Lock Your Boyfriends Up." You teased the track on Instagram, but can you tell me more about this song and what inspired it? And also, does this mean I have to lock up my imaginary boyfriend now that you're back?
Yes, it does.
Because we're back. And we're coming after you.
Lock your boyfriend. There's actually 2 versions of this song.
Yeah.
So we have a demo version, which
some would argue it's even better than the album version.
Yeah, I mean it's the 2 completely different styles. And of course we got signed with the original. But when we went into the studio, the producer changed it. He wanted to change the melody, the lead line of it. And and this is equally a great song. So I think on the back of the success of this single when it's released, I would like people to hear the other version, which is just for fun. But it's just I think with our music, there is so much more depth, and there's so much more kind of, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. There's different angles to it all the time.
Yeah. Pretty much every genre there is, every pop genre. So you've got we've got a couple of tracks that have sort of got this Sophie Ellis-Bextor, Kylie, disco-y edge. Lock Your Boyfriends Up has definitely got a bit of a Britney feel to it, I would say.
Yes.
So it's all the best parts of pop. Supersister sort of take inspiration from.
Well, I think primarily it's the words that you've got to listen to. There's such a play with words all the time, and it is that tongue-in-cheek thing that we're famous for. So I think that's the bit that when you hear the full lyrics to the song, you will be like, oh, this is a Supersister track.
Yeah, listen to them again.
I'm not gonna react like that and be like, new music from Supersister, come on. Like, they're back, come on, like, this is amazing. When I saw the video of you announcing the single, I did get Britney vibes, but there's a producer called Max Martin who produced like Britney and Sync, just like that kind of Backstreet Boys, that kind, so it has that feel to it, like it's sort of similar sound. But I think the demo version, if you would consider it, maybe a deluxe edition of Lip Service with that demo on there, maybe other demos. Coffee and shopping and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I think there's to be honest with you, there's so many good tracks. When we got signed to Gut Records, we actually signed a 5-album deal. So we have that amount of songs in our stock. So obviously you normally choose like our best for the first album, but it was a big like chat meeting of which songs we were going to do in that, but we were also aware that we needed to keep some of the good tracks as well for the second album. So that's why I kind of feel like, oh my gosh, Fantasy Island's never seen the light of day.
Honestly, you will
Perfect
love it.
Stranger, like all these songs that we just like,
not even we
on
were
this holding
album.
them back. Like they are amazing pop songs. So that kind of feels like a travesty that they will ever, see the light of day. So on the success of Lip Service, it would be, as you say, it'd be nice to do like a deluxe version of all these other demos that we've got, because I know that people would go absolutely wild for them.
Speaking about Lip Service, I'm curious to know, have you re-recorded any of the tracks for the album?
No, they're all the original recordings. We would love to record some more new stuff, and depending on how all of this goes over this next year, obviously with Elle being in Australia, although to be fair, it's all doable. So we'll see how all of this goes. We do all have full-time jobs, but this is our love and our passion, so we'll always make it priority. But there is stuff to record, and obviously if there's a desire out there for it, then we'd just have to do it, wouldn't we? It'd be rude not to.
I'll let my people call your people.
Sounds good.
Music. So, the other day I put a story on Instagram if anybody wanted to ask questions for you guys, and I do have some fun questions for you. Are you ready?
We're ready.
So, Paul Robert wants to know, how do you like your men nowadays?
Doing the cooking.
Yes.
That's yours, Lou.
That
Sorry.
is mine. Yeah, they have to be able to cook really well.
Yeah. I don't really know. I'm not actually that fussed about them anymore.
Oh God, that's an exclusive.
Is it? Do you like them hot, strong, and sweet like toffee anymore? Then
we used to say I like my coffee. What is it? Whipped.
As long as it comes in a mug.
Yeah. Irish. Yeah, we were full of innuendos back then. I actually don't drink a lot of coffee anymore.
Not past 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
As long as it's not instant.
I like
it as long as it's not instant, because he's far too quick. Absolutely.
Yeah, always in the morning.
So Andy Hunter asked, was it true that Supersister was going to represent the UK at the Eurovision Song Contest with I Just Came to Dance, which was eventually released by S Club 8? And will we ever hear your version?
Is it on the album?
It's not on the album, but we were contemplating. It's in contention for the Mighty Hoopla set list. It's not decided.
Okay.
We haven't decided yet, but it is a great song.
Such a good song.
Yeah, and S Club Juniors released it. As
yeah,
they say.
Did a good version of it.
They did. So no, it's not on lip service. We might do it live. And were we going to do what was it, Eurovision Song Contest? No, I don't think that is true. I don't ever remember that being talked about.
Yeah.
There you go, Andy. It's not true.
Not true.
So Helen Newman asked, if you could have had the career of any other pop band around the time you released Coffee, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's an interesting question. We had actually asked each other this question. We were driving through Germany on our way we recorded our version of Coffee with Moose Tea. And I was watching this the other day where we asked each other how famous you would want to be. And you were saying you didn't want to be. Eleanor was like,
this 25 years ago, this conversation.
Yeah, and Eleanor was like, what? You don't want to be like a superstar? And you were saying, no, I just want to have a little bit of privacy as well and everything. But I love Kylie, obviously. That would be all right. Because I don't know, I just think she's lived such a great life in terms of remaining relevant, true to herself. She's never sold out. Because she knows she's a queen of pop, and she just always looks great, comes across great. She's just sweet. Sophie Ellis-Bextor as well. I love how she was on T4 the same time with Spiller when we did Coffee for T4. And so her career, I would say, I'm probably very envious of, because she's had a great sort of personal life, family, kids, and maintained the music throughout, working on radio, still writing, still relevant. So yeah, maybe Sophie Ellis-Bextor for me would be a really nice place to be.
What about you, Louise?
Mariah Carey. I want to be doing like New York at New Year's Eve.
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, Madison Square. No. I just love the campness of Coffee and Supersister and on our tracks and whatever. I don't know. Like, I suppose, the Supremes. I don't know, something that classic kind of disco. Kind of the glamour and the longevity of aging with a pop group.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I don't know who I suppose that's
us.
It's us. Basically, it's us with success.
Yeah.
But I suppose I'm thinking of kind of like, obviously, when I look at pop stars that are obviously over the age of 40, 50, Madonna, or those classic,
classic groups, classic musicians.
Yeah.
Wow. So Helen also asked, what was the biggest pinch me moment in your career?
Meeting Muhammad Ali. That was pretty incredible.
Wow.
We had a couple of hours in his company, didn't we, when we were in America?
I met him loads of times.
You hung out with him and Ronnie Ward and whoever else. But yeah, so Muhammad Ali was pretty incredible. Supporting Tom Jones at Hyde Park, that was amazing. Recording the videos was some of the most exciting days. But then I loved being in the studio. We got to record some incredible studios. And one of the biggest pinch me moment was, in fact, our second ever gig. We did our first gig as a band in Tall Trees in Yarm, up near Newcastle. And our second ever gig as Supersister was at Temple Newson Park in Leeds. And there were over 70,000 people there. And we went on stage to do coffee, and it was a sea of people.
Wow.
And that was, oh my gosh, we're here.
We were recording, I think it was, I want to say Abbey Road, but it wasn't Abbey Road.
You think it was the church?
There. Yes, the church. And I went into the kitchen to go and make a cup of tea. And there was this woman stood in front of me. And it was Annie Lennox.
Yeah.
And she was making, I remember her grating ginger into her tea. And I was like, oh, what's that? But yeah,
tiny, wasn't she?
She was just, amazing.
Wow. So we actually have a question from our producer today. If you could create a pop supergroup, who would you have in your group and why?
Pop supergroup. Weirdly, I know Adele from Bewitched. She lives next, like 5 minutes from me.
Wow.
I always think, oh, it'd be fun of me, and you just like went on stage, switch.
Yeah.
And then, but no, I think a supergroup. I think I'd have to have RuPaul. Or someone from like Drag Race, and I just love that whole like,
get Michelle on stage with us,
Michelle Visage, just someone that that whole stage presence of working with drag queens and stuff. I just love that.
I'll tell you who were the loveliest band. We toured with S Club 7, and they were just the sweetest people ever. I know sadly we can't reunite with all of them now, but I would love to reunite with them if we could, and I'd go on stage with them any day. They were so lovely.
Maybe like a Supersister versus S Club.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were huge fans as well. Do you remember John?
Yeah.
John was singing Coffee all the time, and We'd go backstage after the tour, and we'd like go back to where they were staying, and Rachel would be making the tea, and it was just so sweet. It's literally like living with S Club 7. Dead cute.
Well, you mentioned Drag Race and Michelle Visage. I could possibly see Coffee being a lip sync song on Drag Race UK someday. I think that'd be quite iconic.
Absolutely, that's got to happen. Surely, I'm sure that'll be.
We've had Steps on there, like Last Thing on My Mind. So possibly Coffee could be. I can just imagine it now. The next series, Drag Race UK, the first lip sync for your life song is Coffee by Supersister.
Yay!
Just RuPaul bopping along to it.
That'd be fabulous.
So I have one last question for you ladies today.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Once again, thank you very much for being on today's episode. It's been an absolute honour and a pleasure to have you both. The first exclusive comeback interview with Supersister. But what does the future hold for you guys? I know you mentioned the idea of maybe new music if there's a demand, but what else could you see for Supersister?
I'd like another album to follow Lip Service, like you said, for sure. I'd just love to carry on.
Yeah, I think there's opportunities now that we could, back 25 years ago, we would have never have dreamt of that. So I think the I don't know, just creating more Supersister tracks. It's nice to see obviously when we see Coffee, you know, fill a dance floor, or, you know, we go into a club and we hear it, that is a really great feeling. And we're looking forward to Mighty Hoopla in order to see that for ourselves again after all this time. So it would be great to kind of like do Hoopla the year after with a new track that's been played, and just to see that reaction again, because it is quite addictive to see us create something and for everyone to go wow for it. And again, I'd love to see, you know, Coffee, you know, work with brands, you know, coffee brands, and really start, you know, promote the song for where it's supposed to be. The whole RuPaul, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see the song travel. Of course, we're the kind of like the group behind it, but I'd like to see I'd like to see how far the music, the brand of Supersister can go. So on a business level, I'd like to do that, but yeah, create more of the same.
When you mentioned coffee brands, I could see like a Costa advert with drag queens saying, "Come on, gays, let's get coffee," and then the song plays. They're all strutting out to Coffee, lip syncing it.
There is no other Coffee song that could do that.
And I believe Costa is a partner at Mighty Hoopla.
Is it?
Yeah. So you never know. Might happen.
There you go, Costa, if you're listening, brand deal.
Yeah.
Get your coffee with Coffee, or like something like that. Like,
I'd like to see it on Strictly as well. I think it'd be a good song to dance to. You know, that
what kind of style would you do? What kind of style would it be?
Salsa. Yeah, it's a salsa. Yeah.
I was thinking more quick step, maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe that.
Yeah.
It's got that disco vibe to it.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining me on the first episode of the Jake Whitworth Show. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honour to have you here.
Thank you, Jake.
We've loved it.
Thank you.
And if you want to subscribe to Supersister on Instagram, I will put all the links down below. And yeah, check out Mighty Hoopla, Lock Your Boyfriends Up, and the album Lip Service. Thank you again, ladies.
Bye.
Thank you, Jake.
Bye.